Hello friends and welcome to the next episode of this multiplayer free-for-all Dominions 4 game. As you can see, there is a lot of messages up here in the things of what is happening, so let's just go through them very quickly. We've got enormous cauldron of broth from man, which I'm really glad he sent it. Actually, that's so super helpful. A messenger from man. Greetings, mighty Elm. We dispatch with much pomp and ceremony the first of our giant's cauldrons. May you use it well and wisely. We are in desperate need of fire gems if you have any. The Knights of the Grail. So I sent him fire gems and nature gems, and he sent me a cauldron, which is just, I'm so glad that happened. It's going to be such a useful item for me. Messenger from Vanheim. We are short on funds as we rebuild our army. Nevertheless, we send you the 50% of the sea provinces, which are underpaying due to unrest. We will take Theash. We move into position in the north to attack Agatha there. We move cautiously in order to ascertain what Irma will do. They have not responded to our call for ceasefire, let alone our request to attack Agatha rather than us. I claimed the throne of the First Age, so that's fun. I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool. There was a big battle in Chile. I'll get to that very shortly. Unexpected events. Now, this is a doozy. An unexpected event has occurred in Fenica. A treasure has been found, 700 gold, and an assortment of gems and a ranger's cloak, and this is just so good. I think in my very first video I mentioned that there are some really very powerful events in this game that if you can trigger them, if you get them, they can make such a huge impact. And this is one of those events. It's just a huge influx of gold that I can use, and I see this as my turmoil and luck scale strategy as really paying off. This is just such a huge bonus to get. And also another unexpected event occurred in Janelle Forest. 8 air gems. Okay, wow. Whoa. Oh my. Something terrible has happened. Okay, so yeah. The events, if you look here, have changed. It looks slightly different now, and what happened was some of the other players in the group didn't submit their turns in time, so the turn resolved, and then we all basically decided as a group that it would be best to roll back the turn so that everybody managed to submit the turns and we could have a game. Unfortunately, this changed the events. So that treasure event that netted me 700 gold and assortments of gems, and the other event that gave me gems, that didn't happen. Yeah. Instead I get this event in Burrell. Minus 50% tax. I can't tell you how glum I am about what happened here. So yeah, that's a rough one. So that happened, and nothing else to do but to fight on and carry on. So let's have a look at this battle in Chilad. This was me moving my large army up into that fortress, or not fortress, into that province where Agatha had his sacred army. So let's have a look at what's happened here. Wow, that's a big army. So I'm going to turn the battle details on a little bit. I've got all my priests here, and they're busy casting earth power to just be better. And Agatha has some troglodytes. He has got Birdiebot the Prophet, and he's basically got a very long line of shard guards. I'm really impressed with the short bowmen that I got from these swordsmen. They performed much better than I ever dared believe that they would perform. The way I've set up my army is I got a long line of pikeneers, and I got guardians on either flank to, yeah, really try and get around and do some damage, but I wanted the pikeneers to just be the front row. Unfortunately, due to the weather and the terrain, you can't see these iron darts very well at all, but they are there and they are launching, and I'm going to try and put the detail up. In the battle detail, when you put it up a little bit more, I just need to find the right value. It's 3. 3 is the only one. So it actually tells you up here how much damage they're doing. It's very difficult to see on the map, largely because of the weather and the terrain. But because I've got like 50 billion priestments all casting iron darts, and it takes a while. It takes a while! This battle is going to take a while, so I'm definitely going to speed it up. But basically what's happening here is lots and lots of iron darts are being cast. And it's great. It's great. Everything about this is great. Except the weather. The weather could be better. So there were militia here, but there aren't anymore because they're dead. Who even knows where they're going? These iron dots. Can you see them? It's difficult. Okay, so he was actually quite smart. He had his shard guards right at the back on hold as well. And what that means is that the main battle is going to be fought quite far away from where my priest smiths are. I don't really know if that was his plan or if it's just something that happened in happenstance. Maybe I should have moved my forces more further, but I wanted the time for my priest smiths to be able to cast summon earth power, and if I was up front and he was up front, then that wouldn't have been too great either, so mixed feelings about that, but the positioning for my priest smiths just due to the range, not great. Cute. Stone shards. That's just cute. So one of the comments that I got on the channel was, war dogs are actually pretty handy, so use them. So I've thrown some war dogs in here, you can see how they do. I did watch the spell replay in the previous turn. The battle resolved slightly differently. I haven't watched it here, I just looked at the results and they're very, very similar. But I was quite pleased with the way that the war dogs performed. They kind of just got in the way, in a way that was good. So I guess what I'm going to try and do is speed up the game where my priest smiths are casting. Legions of Steel, so that's great. That's each cast of the spell gives a group of my soldiers an extra 3 protection. So we've got some very high protection units, 21. I think that goes up to 23 with the ones who get Legions of Steel. Oh, okay, no, that's 18. 21 is with Legions of Steel. And he's got like 20 here somehow. Protection 21. So very, very high level protection units on both sides. So when they're hitting each other, it's not that much damage is done. Also, sadly, he's got regen on his secret unit, so this battle is going to take a while, but they are taking damage from all the iron darts. Okay, let's speed up the iron darts. You can see by the little vague red colors that they're actually doing damage. Unfortunately, a lot of friendly fire happens here, if I remember rightly. And I think most of the damage that happens to my army is actually during this phase largely from iron darts hitting my own troops. Which isn't something I wanted or tried to do, but also considering that almost all the damage to the shard guards came from iron darts, it was totally a trade worth making. It's just great. It's just iron darts after iron darts, just massacring them. It's great. I had reservations about sending my entire priest smith army out forward into the big battle, but I think it turned out very well. They came into the battle, they fought. It was 1 or 2 turns of not researching. We got the battle that we wanted, and they played a huge role in it. So I definitely lost out on quite a lot of research by sending these priest smiths into this battle, but this represents a huge amount of army from Agathar, and it went really well. It also transpired, Agathar let it slip in one of the emails to the group, that he thought his fort would build before the battle took place. And he was a little bit, I guess, frustrated that the battle happened before the fort was built, because if the fort was built first, then I would be sieging his army in the fort and there would have been not very much going on. But not only do I kill his army, he doesn't get the fort that he was trying to build for the last 4 or 5 turns or however long it takes Agathar to build the fort. So this was just a double whammy win for me. I kill his army and he doesn't build the fort. So just speeding up. Otherwise this just takes too long. Basically what's happening here is the priest smiths are starting to cast with combustion. My troops kind of surround them and hit them a little bit. But really most of the damage here is coming from iron darts. The Guardians, I don't think, actually get into much of the fight. They're too far on the flanks. Basically, I have too many Pioneers, which you can't really complain about. And I'm not. The War Dogs, they're just a little bit behind. In the previous version of the battle that I saw, the War Dogs were much more in front. It's much of a muchness, really, I suppose. What? Why are you... Yeah, unfortunately the shard gods do give curse. The curse unit is very lucky in your battle. Well, that's a shame that the war dogs are basically running away. I hope these guys aren't trying to run away. Oh no! I really hope I kill them all. Yeah. Curiously, in the previous version of the game, the shard guards, their morale didn't break. They basically stood in the front and just stayed there put until they died. So it's a little bit curious how... Well, I mean, in terms of casualties, the battles were very, very similar, but there were some significant differences in how they were actually fought out. So, go Priestsmiths. I'm very, very pleased with how that worked out. A very, very brave Earth Reader there. Hopefully I get the troglodyte stays as well. I was quite scared of these guys, but they just in the back not doing anything, I guess. Agatha wasn't actually expecting the battle. So overall, I lost 11 Pioneers, and yeah, so I lost 12 units I cared about. The War Dogs were basically shaft, and I killed this. This was just such a good trade for me. And this is almost less than one turn's unit of recruitment. So that was basically what happened, and unfortunately my troops now are starting to starve in Chilad because of lack of supplies, but I have a cauldron to fix that with now, so that's great. Some mercenaries left, and I got these mercenaries. I'm going to put a quick cut in here because I need to figure out what I'm going to do in the turn. I'll see you soon. Hello friends, and now for the rest of the turn, and this is quite an involved one. There's a lot going on. Firstly, I'm moving all my spies around, up into Agatha area. I'm going to try and get some into Vanheim area as well to see what I can see. The time is definitely come to split up my army here. I am sending detachments into this province that is free from enemy military units. I am sending Putin the Horned Serpent with his really lowball army, and I'm helping him out with Dunham the commander from up here. I don't need more troops in this province at the moment because I'm just completely overwhelming it with Zaria McLeod, the heroine, who is basically leading the bulk of my army, so congratulations to her. And that means I can send some troops down into Iron Range as well. He might make province defense enough to kill Putin. It's hard to know. I mean, he'll definitely lose gold, but he could deny me the province, so maybe that's the thing he'll choose to do. Maybe it'll be free from enemy military units. It's hard to know. And then I'm just snowballing into this province with my main army from Chilad. My prophet is going to remain and claim the throne. I am going to keep one Priestsmith to search for magic sites because there's not much else to do, and maybe controversially I'm using Eric Bourne to build a laboratory in Chilad. The reason for this is this: I have a lot of Priestsmiths here and I can't move them all the way back to research and then back up to fight. If I have a lab here, then I can start researching with them next turn, and I can bring them out until such time as I need them to join the main army to actually win another battle. Just trying to keep ahead or in the research game, because those Iron Darts, they won me that battle, and I want to stay ahead in the research. So at the moment they can't research because there is no lab, so they're going to preach instead. I might also choose to do some conjuration, maybe just summon like 100 clockwork soldiers. I don't know. I've got these earth gems. I can just summon an army if I wanted to, and that might be a really worthwhile use of those gems. Unless I can get some better research, I can summon something better, but that requires some same input in research, and so unfortunately I've had to push my treasury to the absolute limit. So all this means that I'm recruiting in my home province is 6 or 7 black plates Pioneers. I can't build a lab and do my usual recruitment in my home province, so I'm staying put with that. Building a castle here, I'm moving my pretender up into the lab in Ulm, where he can research or craft magic items. That decision will be made later. I kind of forgot about this army down in the south. It is moving north, and this army here is very curious. I'm not entirely quite sure what I'm not sure what it's going to do. If I was him, I would definitely move north and regroup. He could try and march south and just raid these provinces and be a real pain in my ass. The one thing I can be quite confident about is that it's not going to stay where it is. And if it does stay where it is, I'm quite happy because then I keep this province. So I'm actually quite happy if it stays put. So what I'm doing here is I've got Stromelsa the mercenary is the war elephant. So I'm going to send just him to attack Tiash. I'm sending him just to attack Tiash, and yeah, I just realized now that I actually asked Vanheim to attack Tiash, and he said no, he couldn't. I communicated that I needed an attack, so I'm going to have to send him a communication saying I'm attacking Tiash. I needed to. I needed to maintain my aggression against Agatha, so I have to send that communication to him. Hopefully that won't upset him. I know he is, or he tells me he's putting troops into position to attack Agatha. It's hard to know exactly what. I did deceive him a little bit, because I told him that I won this great battle against Agatha, but I suffered horrific casualties and I'm hurt, so please help me. And then he was like, I saw your battle. You did really well. And I'm like, oh dear. I lied to him. He knows I lied to him, and I know that he knows that I lied to him. I still think the alliance is strong. I still think we are committed to working together against Agatha. I don't expect a backstab yet. I mean, certainly not next turn. I definitely feel a war between me and Vanheim is imminent. I'm constantly expecting him to attack me almost at any turn now. But I don't think maybe not the next few turns. I think I can still take as much of Agatha as I can. In terms of actually winning the game, because this is a level 1 throne. Is it? Let me just check. I'm pretty sure it's level 1. I think I checked this before. Thrones of Ascension, the Brass Throne, that's the one I'm about to claim. Level 1. Okay. Level 1, I've got Throne of the First Age, and the Throne of Splendor is here. So that's 6 points. I need 10 to win. And then there's a throne here and a throne here, and they're close. And then maybe that brings me up to 8 and 9, and then like it feels within reach. Like I feel like I could actually win this. That's not a feeling I've had. I've had a feeling that I might be able to win it, but now I actually feel like I actually can. It all depends on what happens with Vanheim in the next number of turns. If we go to war and who sides with who. Asphodel just seems to be a non-player at this point. He's got neutral provinces here. He's got big army here. I'm not entirely sure if he's still even really in the game mentally. And the same thing with Ermor. Shinuyama, I just have no idea on how strong this guy is. He's defeated the army of Asphodel. He's maybe reclaiming some business. I know Man was nicking some wasteland province from Vanheim, so they're probably not the best of friends. Ostensibly, I still have a very good relationship with Man, and with Vanheim too, it's hard to know exactly. So I just need to wrap up. I think I'm at the point where I just need to increase my power as quickly as possible and maybe go for a win. I can't play weak anymore. People know about this army now. They know it's strong, they know it's big, and I have to use it. Yeah, it's a pity that I lost that event with all that gold. That would be so useful. I could be building units everywhere. I can be building province defenses to make sure that someone doesn't go to my territory. I could maybe plan to build a castle here, but all of that's just gone all out the window. I've had to seriously sacrifice recruitment so I can build this lab so I get research. Speaking of which, I've got a whole 11 research points this turn from a 1 lone priestsmith in my capital, and I'm going for evocation 4, and the main reason is Bladewind. Bladewind's a pretty sweet ass spell. It's just huge swarm of whirling blades towards his enemies. The Bladewind is an excellent spell against light troops, so almost useless against heavily armored ones. What this does is, you see, iron darts actually have quite higher penetration. Throws darts against enemies. The iron and the anti-magic theurgy of the darts will severely hurt magical beings. So this is great against magical beings, of which Agatha will have statues, so they'll be really effective against those if I'm not mistaken. They're armor piercing as well. The point is, Bladewind isn't going to do much friendly fire against my troops because they're so heavily armored, but the iron darts do. So if I'm going against lightly armored opponents, it's Bladewind all the way. If we're going against heavily armored units, it's maybe iron darts and Bladewind. Also, it gives me Hurricane, and I can't wait to cast joke spells on people. It's just going to be fun. Otherwise, after evocation, maybe another point in alteration or conjuration. I want to be able to summon things with my earth gems or use them. I think Curses of Stones. unsurprisingly, the summoning spells is in Conjuration. And I can do Sloth of Bears. I didn't realize I could actually do that. I pretend I can cast a spell, although I'm very short on nature gems. Yeah, I don't have enough. I gave most of them to Man for the Giant Cauldron. But if I go to level 4, Cave Drakes are heavily armored, alright? A Cave Drake and binds into service. Cave Drake is a huge beast with incredible thick scales. I think it's mostly a tank. Doesn't really do too much damage. But level 5, I think. Summon Earth Elemental. I think this is... The caster summons an Earth Elemental to aid him in battle. Earth Elementals are robust and regenerate damage. They can trample enemies or strike with Mighty Fists. Elementals shrink when they're hit by powerful strikes. So I think maybe Evocation 4, it's going to Conjurations, get these Earth Elementals, and then I can just cast like 20 in a battle and just win that way. They're a bell spell, so they don't stick around. I don't even require 1 gem. Although custom spawns 5 4-bears. So yeah, it might be better to get geez, I'm actually not sure which ones are battle spells and which ones just hang around forever. Trolls are pretty cool too. So I mean, that's in a few turns time, so I'm going to have to have a careful thought and do some research about what exactly research to go over 10 towards, so I can actually spend these gems and win the big important battles. Because yeah, gems win battles, that's the one thing I'm constantly being told, but the only thing I can really use my Priestments for is Clockwork Soldiers. So yeah, okay, another slight detail. This is the province where my forces from the battle retreated to, the war dogs. So I'm going to send this guy here, Alfred. He's got a small army just from the day's recruitment from the capital province. He's going to go up here, he's going to collect what armies are here, and he's going to be able to respond to whatever happens here. Actually, these guys could attack this province. That'd be a bit awkward. That's 30 against Alfred, who has 35. Yeah, Alfred will win. For sure. And his province defense. So let's just make sure Alfred's behind the province defense, because that's what you want. Sebel orders, and then he can stay behind troops. Okay, and this means that, yeah, stay behind troops, that's fine. This means that if he attacks this province, I win. If he moves here, he wins. If he gets that province, he'll take it, which is a shame. If I take this province, then, or if he moves, then I'll capture this province, I think, with my elephant. Although there's some province defense, it's hard to know for sure. Either which way, next turn is going to be very eventful. At least 3 battles. At least 3 battles. Maybe more. Well, the war is certainly hotting up, so please join me next time to see where this all goes. Okay, thank you for joining me. Goodbye.